Morning. It's Monday, September 19th. I'm Kim, and this is our essential emotions discussion. It's where we talk about using holistic tools like essential oils and journaling and breathing, and how to use the essential emotions book as kind of like a little guide. Because a lot of people will say, well, how do I use the oils to process feelings? And where do you start? So it's easy when you have the app or you have the book and you can just start looking through. In the back, you start with you can start either with the emotion or with the physical manifestation. So if it's like a chronic left shoulder issue, you look up shoulder and then you follow the instructions with the oils. So I like sharing that with people. And specifically today, I wanted to share something from one of my favorite little books here. This is a yoga book written by Deborah Adele, and she talks about the yamas and the niyamas. So it's about ethical practices, and she talks about nonviolence, and there's non-stealing, nonviolence, let's see, non-excess, truthfulness, non-possessiveness, self-discipline, self-study, contentment, purity. The nonviolence part that I'm going to bring up is the negative self-talk we do. That's violence. Dang it. So one of my teachers on, was it yesterday morning? She was talking about thinking your thoughts and being able to step back and analyze that. If you are you being curious or are you invested? So if we're able to kind of be present, like Shannon, you just mentioned before I click the button, then when you're in the present, then you can kind of like listen to what's coming out of that ego stream of thoughts and go, that's a real interesting. What is that about? Versus like, you're really feeling it and you're like, this is true. You're like, wait, is that true? No, it's not. So I kind of wanted to bring that up for those of us, when if you're living in the ego stream of thoughts versus you're able to be right here, right now, and be curious about what's coming out, because we are not our thoughts, right? So anyway, that's just I'm just throwing that in there. So I'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, we, for our own group norms, if you could identify before you speak, if you'd like feedback, or if you're open, or if you just want us to listen. Well, I can share. So I had the convention pool party at my house it was on Thursday, Friday. Well, actually it started on Wednesday with a friend that she didn't realize it started on Thursday. So she showed up on Wednesday and I didn't want to disappoint her. So I opened the pool for her and I kind of did the whole thing. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I've been in host mode. And that's an interesting experience. It's like how I used to show up, because people would be coming to my house every week for classes before COVID, and who I used to be back then with, I have to like you got to show up because you promised, and even if you don't feel good, and the mask we wear to show up, and I was just the person I am now. And I have to be really authentic with myself when I'm around other people. And so I was struggling a little bit with that. Just still trying to be like the real me and not the one with the mask that has everything together. And so yeah, it was just exhausting. So, but I really enjoyed it. It's like a reality check for me. Like, okay, so when and if I'm having more people at the house, what am I going to change? And I kept kind of my mantra of the weekend was, what can I let go of? What can I let go of? You know? So that helped me because I'm like, stop. The world is not spinning faster. It's exactly the same. What can I let go of right now? And I'm open for feedback. Sorry, I didn't say that in the beginning. Were you guys watching the convention?
No.
Oh, you can watch the replay.
I watched the first session where they released some of their products, but I haven't watched the rest of it yet.
The meat of it is on the second day.
I will watch that.
Yeah, they got more. I'm excited about it. Well, for myself, for the brain fog factor and inflammation, and of course for my skin. I don't necessarily need to lose weight. But I mean, all metabolism help, because they were talking about the cellular age versus the chronological age.
Mhm.
Dawn is here. Let me open the.
So did you get any new emotion books? I think the Essential Emotions has a new book that they came out with.
I haven't ordered it yet. I've been spinning, kind of managing a lot of stuff. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Kim, I have to just kind of listen. I have a concussion, so I'm not supposed to do screen time. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just going to be listening in today.
Okay. Yeah. Glad you're here. I'm sorry you got hurt.
Mhm. I did have a question, Kim, when you were sharing, because I remember you used to share how you used to, do face to face, and you're like, oh my gosh. So I'm curious, with you hosting everyone, did you find that it's like, oh no, or was it enjoyable for you? Like, I'm just curious. Was it more like, oh my gosh, I'm never doing this, or I'm not doing this again for a while, or was it refreshing for you?
So I think it was the duration. I could have handled it if it were just like one day. I think because it was many days,
Mm.
So that's, I think, what really got me. But I really enjoyed it. Having people there and having everybody enjoy themselves. And so, but in normal circumstances, I wouldn't have people at my house for many days in a row,
I understand.
Yeah. Hi, Maria. Oh, your sound's off.
I'm in Boulder, and I'm driving stuff, but I needed to connect. Okay.
Aw. I'm glad you're here. And
I'm going to leave it on mute.
okay, yeah. So my mantra for, because normally I'm like, how can I hold it together? How can I hold it together? And I was like, this time the difference was, what can I let go of? What can I let go of? And that was helpful. And what I'm actually, now that I'm talking out loud, I'm quite impressed with my nervous system, because normally when I go into this deep of a work mode, my dreams at night will be about working. Like I won't have stopped working. I'll just keep working in my dreams. But that's not happening this time. Last night I dreamt I was at some weird beach, and it was kind of scary actually, but it wasn't anything to do with doTERRA work. So that was good. I was like rolling on the beach, trying to not be smushed by hippos. It was really weird. And the night before I dreamt I was at my childhood home, and there was like, my mom and I walked into our living room, and there was all these mattresses everywhere. Like we had, like, homeless people had moved into our house, and there was all these cats and mice. And I was like, Mom, what happened here? I don't know. So I'm like, and I'm not having my TMJ issue. So there's something has shifted. Because usually if I had been hosting like that, I definitely would have been dreaming doTERRA parties. Like I would have been continuing to work in my sleep and I would have woke up with my TMJ thing. So something has changed.
As always, excuse me, I'm getting a lot just from you sharing, because I'm like, I'm getting some ideas, because I'm always looking at my schedule, especially my weekly schedule of the things that are consistent. And I'm always trying to think, what can I take out? Even though I have things in my schedule, doesn't mean I always have to do them. Like if I had, so when I look at my schedule for the week, I say, okay, I'm not going to do that 9 o'clock that I normally do Tuesday. Let me just delete that, so I kind of had my weekly schedule. So I like what you were saying, as far as like, what, was that just something for this week because you just hosted everyone as far as what can I do less? Or is that kind of an ongoing, like, that's my mantra for a little bit.
I picked it up because I had been using that essential emotions curriculum.
Mhm.
Let me grab it. So on this, she's got a cheat sheet. This one here, I can pull it up on the screen for you guys to look at, but it's essential emotions. It's Carla McClellan. And I think this was maybe a month ago. I was feeling like when you feel so full and you're like, I kind of don't want to do any of this now feeling. So almost like I'm done, like almost like I'm talking to God, like, is this too much? Like, can we just be done? Not necessarily like suicidal, but kind of just like, I'm kind of done, like there was just that small voice that was like, I'm done. And I'm like, well, that's not good. That's not good at all. So that means we got to change everything. And I looked on this page and it said for suicidal urge, what idea or behavior must end now? What can no longer be tolerated in my soul? So it's not like, oh, I need to end life. It's like what behavior, what is happening in my life that I need to end, So if I'm ever feeling overwhelmed or unhappy to that extent, it's just like, well, what is it that I need to get rid of? Like we see on movies, like somebody is going to jump off a bridge and then they don't. And then it's like a new lease on life, right? Like they realize I have to let go of everything. I have to completely change everything. So it's just like this realization of like, well, whatever it is I'm doing isn't working. So let's just not do any of it. So I think from that experience, that motto kind of was born in my brain. Like, what can we let go of right now? Because we don't need it. So sorry, it's really raw. I know it's hard. Like, it's not like I'm suicidal, I promise.
No. I know. I'm glad you brought that up because I think, I need to die while I'm living. So it means die of things that are unnecessary things I don't really need in my life, stuff I don't really need in my life. So those things, so you could live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, well, and I'm remembering why I was feeling that way because I was like filing for divorce. So that's why I think it's so dramatic. Sorry. I don't know how else to react. I know it's not really a laughing thing, but that's like my way of being like, I'm not crazy, okay? But yeah, I really like the essential emotions chart. Let me pull it up for you guys.
Does that come in a book? Because I remember getting the book.
The chart doesn't, it's just like on a free thing on her app.
Oh,
Right, not her app, I mean the website. Okay, wait. Carla McClellan. So here's her, can you guys see that? Carla McClellan?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm gonna go to free tools. And then she's got the free emotion chart for adults. Oh, this one's for kids. Let's see. Do you guys still see it? It's like kind of a rainbow chart. Let's see. This one's better. This one, it says, how do my emotions support me? It's just the idea that because even through all of the therapy I've been through from when I was a teenager and I had an eating disorder, and so I was in therapy for like 7 years, and then through all of my addiction issues, I've been to therapy and also marriage counseling and PTSD therapy, and they would say, feel your feelings. You're just gonna have to sit and feel your feelings. I'm like, no, I don't want to. And then I really liked the Carla McClellan was like, okay, so your feelings, your emotions are messages for what you need to do in your life. It's a roadmap. It gives you a clue. So if you don't feel ashamed of your feelings and don't stop your feelings, because it's like, you have to like put your antennas out and go, oh, wait, okay. So what is this that I'm feeling? What does this mean I need to do? So guilt and shame, it's restoring integrity. Shame helps me maintain the agreements I've made with myself and others, monitor my behavior and make amends. So like, what is it that you need to change? Or what, more like what my issue with shame is it was my default. I was living, that was my body's natural default, to be completely ashamed of any behavior or emotion or feeling. I would shut down my feelings because I felt, well, why should I be mad about this? I can't be a good Christian or a good person if I'm angry or if I'm sad. If I'm sad, that means I'm not holding myself together. Like I wasn't allowing myself to feel. So it's kind of, you got to figure out your own story. Like what's your default? Are you living in panic? Is that your default? Thoughts?
Well, lately it's kind of been like something kicked my knee and my knee jerks, kind of reacting to things that are going on in my life. And sometimes I don't know how to react to them, and I don't sit and identify my emotions that are going along with it. Which I probably need to like sit back, stand back, and look at the situation and assess it. Any comments they're fine. I'm open.
Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, what my yoga teacher was talking about yesterday, she said thoughtful or mindful, like it's full, or mindful. Mindful being you're in the present and you can step back and like see what you're doing or what you're thinking about. That curiosity versus investment, or if your mind is full, then you can't really identify what you're feeling because it's just too much in there. Does that help?
Yes, I think I need to start going back to my oil resource books to try to. Sometimes when you look at the emotions, you can say, yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I have to start doing.
Yeah, like identify, and then if you can, write it down. What I've thought was been thinking about for people is if you start on a blank page and you can't get yourself to write, just start writing in circles. Just like start circle with your pen. And then at least your pen is moving. Or like this is what I'm doing for my the book that I wrote for addiction, is in right before the journaling portions of each of the workbook, I'm having a friend of mine make coloring pages. So like if you have an adult coloring book, like right where you're going to start journaling, like just like color in the unicorn. Just so you can get yourself to start writing on paper, and then you can go, okay, now I think I can calm down enough that I can write.
And then where did you get that workbook? It's an essential emotions workbook. Did you get that on?
Oh no, I wrote it.
Oh,
You guys will get it soon. My friend is putting it together in an ebook form so that I can share it with my friends, but it's being copied. I'm applying for a copyright so that it can be printed in real life. But you guys will have access. So yeah. Because what I wanted didn't exist, so I wrote it.
Congratulations on
Wow.
that. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, and thanks to you guys for being here along the journey and helping me like identify what needed to be written. So I appreciate
Want
that.
to share, like I wanted some feedback on just an oil to help me be more present. As I always share every Monday, I get my little monk manual thing, and when it's relevant for what we're talking about, I usually like to share it. So for today, it says, rarely will you meet a truly present person who is not also peaceful. Rarely will you meet a truly peaceful person who is not also present. The two are interconnected. If you are looking for more peace in your life, consider how focusing on staying in the present moment versus the past or future might be a key pathway to growth. This week, pay attention to when you leave the present moment and find yourself getting caught in the past or future. Try, especially this week, to build a conscious habit of bringing yourself back into the present when you notice yourself getting lost in your head. So I was just curious if you could think of an oil to help me really focus on just being more present.
You have yarrow?
I do.
I think yarrow would be a good one for us this morning. And I think you'll like it, Deirdre, because yarrow, like when I planted it, I have this little garden bed right next to my pool.
Mhm.
And the pool man, when he had to do this acid wash on the Pebble Tech, I didn't know he was gonna put it in my like planned plant, like bed, like,
Planter?
yeah. So it was dirt to him, because I didn't say, hey, that's gonna be a planter. So he dumped all the acid wash into that planter. And I didn't know that. And so when I went to go dig it up and garden it, I saw all the little blue specks from the pool. And I'm like, oh my God, he put the. So I planted a bunch of yarrow because yarrow detoxes the earth. It pulls all of the poisons and heavy metals and things out of the ground. And all the yarrow died. So then I cut it real low. I had a friend come over and tell me what to do. And we cut it real low to the ground, and it all came back huge after that. So I'm like, oh, look, my yarrow, it cleaned up my dirt. And it's for energetic protection.
Mm.
So I have a feeling that mind full, we can help the yarrow to pull it from you. And then we're going to use it as an energetic bubble.
Can I
So-
use yarrow palm? The yarrow palm. I use that serum.
Yeah,
Right now, I smell like deep blue. So I have to go wash my hands. Yeah, that one.
yeah, you can do both. Actually, that sounds like a good idea. I want to add deep blue. I love deep blue. Let me add that. Okay. Gotta do-
Kim,
Yes.
when you talked about coloring pages, I had a kind of unusual experience. In my house, my parents have monitors and scanners and TVs and stuff in every room, basically going 24/7.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend took me to her mother's house in Indiana. and her mother doesn't watch TV, rarely listens to the radio, and the house was totally silent. Well, my counselor had suggested I take a coloring book just as part of my vacation for, something relaxing to do.
Uh-huh.
I actually got on the bed and attempted to color, and my body was so used to stimulation that trying to calm myself down to color was traumatic. It really took me a lot of working through being in silence to recognize how much daily stimulation I have all the time. And that, trying to just, get down to the basics of doing something as simple as coloring was, actually stressful. It wasn't relaxing for a while.
Hmm. Did you want me feedback or?
Sure.
So when I was doing something called a yoga nidra, that's like a guided meditation in yoga. My teacher was talking about, because I felt a panic feeling like maybe 5 minutes into it.
Mhm.
I mentioned it afterwards, and she said that when we slow down and the stimuli around us is muted, your body has an opportunity to unwind. And I think your body was given an opportunity, and you're like, what is this?
Like, what do I do? What do I do with this?
Yeah, like, you know how when people retire and then they're like, I don't like this, like, because now they have a chance to slow down. Because now they have that, now your body is like, okay, so now you're gonna listen to me. So I would take that opportunity to ask more questions about what it is you're feeling, because it sounds like there's stuff that your body wants to let go of, and it would require patience and kindness to yourself. Like, what you have to kind of ask, like, what is it that you need right now, body?
It almost sounds like, so when I go away and I stay
And with
in a hotel or whatever, it's like a retreat. So you have to like sit and process that calmness. If that makes sense.
Yeah. There's something that my friend Nikki Jordan showed me that I think you guys would like. It's called TRE. And you know how, like, when animals, like, so say like the rabbit is being chased by the fox, and it chased it all over the forest, and then the rabbit found a hole and the fox didn't get it. So now the rabbit is going to stay, and it's going to shake, and it's going to let that go out of its nervous system. And it's not going to go home to its other rabbits and go, you wouldn't believe what happened to me today. And I'm so traumatized by it. Like, the rabbit doesn't do that. It's just like, that's it, it's gone. And humans don't do that. We don't know how to naturally just like decompress and let go of the story and let our body let go of that story. So we just kind of, like, years and years of like the coil getting tighter and tighter. And then when people stop, like the war heroes come home from war, and in their sleep, their body, the coil starts to loosen, and then they freak out, right? Like, they'll wake up in the middle of the night and they're hitting arms at people, whoever's in the bed with them. It's because the coil is loosening. So to safely do that for ourselves, we have to find ways to decompress. And if we can tell ourselves this is part of the process, or remember that, then we can accept it instead of being afraid or panic. Like, I'm going to allow myself to, like, let the coil loosen in a safe environment. Right. So let me share my screen real quick and I'll see if I can find it.
I'm going through something very similar to that with this concussion. The doctor told me Friday to avoid screen time and stimulation and everything. and so I'm really having a hard time being present, calm, away from everything, especially with convention going on and not being able to watch it, you know. I've been struggling with that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like you lose control, the normal control you have. Might be your opportunity where life said, you're gonna slow down, okay? You're like, I didn't say I wanted to. Yes, you are.
Well, it's been kind of a two-edged sword, and I was thinking a lot about the codependent and more because mom ended up in the hospital with pneumonia Monday through Thursday. So I didn't have the opportunity to take time to go check myself out. And I got hurt the previous Saturday. I didn't have time to go get an MRI or CAT scan till Friday.
Hmm.
You know, so I can relate to when you talk about taking care of other people and not taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if we stop and be grateful for a moment that you were able to, like your body was like, okay, we need to be there for mom. So like we're gonna put this on hold for a second. Like your body was that smart that it could allow you to keep going without adrenaline,
Mhm.
you know, because your mom needed you. Like, so you did like the major you were like a soldier, right? Like, isn't that amazing that your body did that for you? But now your body's like, okay, so like now we're gonna backtrack because we got to do us.
Now we have to do us. Yep. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I was ignorant. I thought I could go get a chiropractic adjustment and everything would be fine. And so I'd never seen a chiropractor before. And I called one and he's like, I'm not touching you and you need to get your butt to the ER.
Well, I'm
So,
glad that you had a smart chiropractor.
yeah. So you know, I think a lot of it was adrenaline.
Yeah. So I think you got to thank your body for that. Thank you, body, for helping me to show up for my mom. And thank you for helping me to slow down so now I can take care of me. You know,
Thank
this,
Yep.
you're welcome. There's some videos of this shaking thing. And you know what? I bet you I can get my friend Nikki because she teaches this TRE exercise. I bet I can get her to come do a special thing for us. Would you guys like that?
That would be fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Because she's been talking about this to me for a long time, and it's literally just allowing your body. Like, have you ever like when you sleep and you jerk? That's part of that nervous system response thing, and it's kind of allowing your body to do that shaking. It's basically what it is. So, yeah. So I'm kind of excited, Deirdre, that you mentioned the deep blue on your hands and then you went to go wash them because I actually think that's what I need today is deep blue and yarrow. I'm just going to use these both. That feels supportive.
I put it on my knees and legs every morning. I use the yarrow palm and the weird crepey thighs I've gotten that because I've lost so much muscle, my injuries and my age. And it's really helped the way my thighs look in shorts. The
Right?
yarrow palm. Yeah.
I use the yarrow on my boobs and my stomach from, you know, like all the giving birth and breastfeeding for 6
Yeah.
years or whatever. So that's great. I was gonna mention one thing before we stop share. There is a gal, what's her name? It's not coming to me. Oh, Carol Ann Guest. She's in St. George, Utah. And she was playing pickleball, I think in July or the end of June. And I don't even know what pickleball is, but I'm assuming there's a small ball involved. But or maybe I don't know if you guys have ever played pickleball.
It's like volleyball with a tennis racket.
Okay. So she was playing that and she fell down and hit her head on the concrete. and she got was it a concussion or it was a concussion, but it's something else. And
Did
she
get a
ended up,
whiplash?
was it whiplash? No, I think it was a concussion. Yeah. And she's had to go like it was something severe, and it's made it so her equilibrium has been so far off all summer long, and she has to lay in bed. And she's been documenting her journey on Facebook. If you want to see it, Donna, I would find Carol and Guest on Facebook. But she started using the MetaPower because it's got that collagen packet. Because she's like, I don't know, blue diamond or presidential diamond. So she got it early, and she noticed a big difference in how her healing process for this concussion. So I felt like that was interesting. So for people with brain injury issues, then
That's
that would be-
awesome.
yeah. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over some of the emotions on that chart. And then I'm going to journal, and I'm going to see if I can stay in the present with my yarrow and deep blue. I'm keeping my feet flat on the ground when I am doing this, and thinking of like, what is it that I can let go of that I don't need to do right now, because I'm going to stay right here.
Is that chart on the Essential Emotions website, or is it on Carla's website?
It's on Carla McClellan's website.
Okay,
Yeah. So I can put it in the chat. Carla McLaren.com. She does have, because I got her, she has little emotions cards. I think they were like $10. I got them on there. But she has a really great way to create your own boundaries, like a boundary bubble around yourself. If I can find it, then I can read it to you guys. I really like the cards though, for, kind of like I'm learning. I like learning. Okay.
is her last name McClellan?
Only one C, MCL. I put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I found it. Defining your boundaries. Okay. Relax and imagine yourself surrounded by a brightly colored bubble that encompasses your private personal space. Your personal boundary should be an arm's length away from you at all points, even underneath you, as if you're a yolk standing inside the protective eggshell of your own imagined boundary. My nose is running. Get acquainted with your personal boundaries. Learn where you begin and end, and inhabit this private and defined space where you can work with your own thoughts, sensations, ideas, visions, and emotions. If you can imagine other people inside your own protective boundaries, you'll reinforce your own ability to create proper separation from others. Your boundaries are maintained by your healthy, free-flowing anger and shame. Anger helps you observe and respond to boundary violations that come from the exterior world, while shame helps you observe and avoid boundary violations that may come from you. Setting proper boundaries gives you and everyone around you the space we all need to be our best selves. So I kind of like that, that if you're feeling like you want to stay in the present and you want to just be you, and you're not going to let other people's issues and problems blend into who you are, then you're just the little egg yolk, and you've got that the egg whites barrier, and then you've got the shell, and it goes 3 feet underground underneath of you. The signs of boundary impairment: not enough healthy anger, uncontrolled empathy, enmeshment. So, that means our self is connected to the well-being of others in our oikos, our people around us, and self-neglect. Not enough healthy shame is overbearing behavior, self-aggrandizement, and intolerance. So hopefully that's helpful to you guys. I can snap a pic and text it to you so you have it.
I had another question, Kim.
Sure.
Oh gosh. I don't know. I'm feeling really out of sorts today. Like when you read that, definitely not trying to be hard on myself, but it's like I just keep doing the opposite of what you just shared. Like I can say I'm not going to do this, or I got to take care of myself, or I'm going to say no. And then when I'm in the situation with the people, I may say no is better. So instead of saying yes 10 out of 10, I may say yes 4 out of 10. But it's so hard for me to, not have that, whatever you just read, the empathy, the embeddedness. And it's like, I feel like the only way I could be that way is to just be by myself. So it's like I go through these cycles of like, I need to just be by myself, because when I'm around other people, even my own children and husband, I just can't help but to fill their needs and then I feel like my blood is all over the floor. It's crazy. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Oh my God. So that's just, maybe inhaling this is a start.
Well, so what you just said is actually a recovery win. That's you seeing your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So you're aware of it. That's a win. And when we backtrack and we do the behavior that we've been saying, I don't want to do, that's also a win, because you caught yourself, you were aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have because I have friends in recovery, and there's kind of like a practice, like you practice with them.
Mm-hmm.
So like so for example, like how we've said in here, do you have emotional space to listen?
Mm-hmm.
Or and then they go, yeah, I do. And it's just those little questions, like you start saying things like that. Like what you're saying is you're not able to say no, or you still feel it's your responsibility to do more for them. Let's see. So if you feel being a good mom and being a good Christian and a good person in general, like, so something is offending your belief system about making those changes, that if you didn't do certain things, you wouldn't be a good mom or a good Christian or a good wife. So you have to figure out what of that isn't true. Like my older sister, she's a homeschool teacher, but she works for a charter, and she has a contract that says what her job description is, but they're adding like lots more that are impossible for her to make herself do a good job and also do the things they're asking. And to her, to say no and to just blatantly not do it means that she is breaking the rules and that she's a bad person. So like you have to look at what is it that I want them to do and communicate it. Because if you won't communicate it, then it's still on you. Say, this is what I'd like you to do. And it would make me feel seen. And I don't know. I don't know if any of that makes sense.
I appreciate that feedback. Thank you. I just was thinking about it when you read the card. So having that card will be a good reminder. So thanks a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like I know better than anyone, but It's kind of like when somebody's been taking dance classes. I just know the dance steps because I've been going to the dance classes. Like, so that's the only reason I have any know-how. It's because I've been going to the dance classes. So yeah. I appreciate you guys so much. And I'll have you in my heart today. I'm going to be praying for everybody that they get peace and they can stay present and allow life to come to you and release control. So, love
I'm
you
gonna
all.
see you sometime this year. Watch.
Yeah, come out. We'll go to Lake Arrowhead.
Nice.
You can swim in the pool.
Yes. Well, you all have an amazing day. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you. See you next week, hopefully. I'll try.
Hi, I feel better, Donna.
You know what, Donna, just sit back and eat bonbons and just say, I'm gonna enjoy this. And just learn, you have to learn to do nothing. Been there, you know?
I'm hoping my MetaPower shows up today, so I
Oh,
can
that'd be great.
journal about it, doing wonderful things. Thank you all.
Yeah,
See
just
you
enjoy
soon.
it.
Bye,
You don't have
guys.
a choice. Bye-bye.